Welcome to our channel HD Rare Coin 111, your go-to spot for uncovering the incredible world of rare US coins. If you've ever wondered if your old pennies, nickels, or dimes are worth more than face value, you're about to find out. In today's video, we'll be exploring some truly rare coins and their shocking values. And if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. So let's jump in. Top 1. Today you're going through a handful of coins, maybe after a grocery run, maybe sorting through an old jar in your garage, and among the dull, worn quarters, something catches your eye. It's nothing too flashy at first glance, just a 1979 Washington quarter. You flip it, see the bold eagle on the back, shrug, and almost toss it back in the pile. But wait, what if that tiny, ordinary-looking coin in your hand is not just worth 25 cents, but something far, far greater? What if it's a hidden gem, one of the rarest errors ever to come out of the US Mint? What if it's worth a fortune? Welcome back, collectors and coin hunters. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1979 Washington quarter dollar, a coin that has surprised experts, stunned investors, and captured the hearts of numismatics all around the world. If you think modern coins can't carry old secrets, think again, because the 1979 quarter is full of mystery, rarity, and astonishing value. Let's start with the basics. The 1979 Washington quarter was part of the regular circulating coinage produced by the United States Mint. Like other quarters of its era, it was made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, featuring George Washington's bust on the obverse, that iconic, stoic face we've all come to recognize, with the word, Liberty, overhead, the motto, In God We Trust, to the left, and the date, 1979, sitting proudly below. On the reverse side, the powerful American eagle with wings spread, perched on a bundle of arrows, surrounded by olive branches, a symbol of strength and peace. Millions of these quarters were struck at 3 minting locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. But not all 1979 quarters were created equal. In the vast sea of over 500 million quarters minted that year, a few slipped through the cracks of perfection. And those few are the reason we're here today. These are the ones that make collectors stop in their tracks, dealers raise their eyebrows, and treasure hunters dream big. Let's talk about the rare and costly errors that make the 1979 quarter one of the most thrilling coins to collect. One of the most eye-catching errors from this year is the doubled die obverse, a misalignment during the minting process that results in parts of the design being duplicated. In the case of the 1979 quarter, collectors have discovered specimens where Liberty and the date, 1979, show clear signs of doubling. These doubling errors aren't always obvious. Some are subtle, requiring magnification, while others practically jump off the coin with bold overlapping lines. Next comes another collector favorite, off-center strikes. In this error, the quarter was not properly centered when struck by the die. The result? A coin that looks like it's been clipped or flattened on one side, with parts of the design missing or stretched out. The more dramatic the off-center error, especially if the date is still visible, the more valuable the coin becomes. A perfectly placed off-center strike with legible features can fetch thousands of dollars at auction. But the surprises don't stop there. In rare cases, 1979 quarters were struck on planchets intended for other coins, even foreign ones. These are known as wrong planchet errors. Imagine finding a quarter-sized coin that weighs less than normal or has an unusual color. Some have been found struck on penny blanks, foreign metal stock, or even transitional metal discs left over from other minting operations. These types of coins are incredibly rare and always in high demand. Another interesting anomaly is the clipped planchet error. This happens when the metal sheet from which blanks are punched has overlapping punches, causing a curved piece to be missing from the edge of the coin. It gives the coin a bite mark look, and believe it or not, collectors go wild for it. But the most mysterious, and perhaps most prized, 1979 quarter is the one that appears perfectly normal, until it's tested. That's right, a few quarters from this year were accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets, possibly from earlier production or special sets. While quarters after 1964 were no longer made with silver, The mint sometimes made proof or special sets using 40% silver. If one of these planchets found its way into the regular coinage process, you've got an ultra-rare, high-value hybrid coin that's nearly impossible to identify with the naked eye, unless you know what to look for. So how do collectors and experts spot these rare gems? It starts with weight. A standard 1979 quarter should weigh around 5.67 grams. If a coin weighs more or less than this, and isn't obviously worn down, it's worth further investigation. Magnetism, edge appearance, and sound tests are other clues. But the final word always comes from grading and certification services like PCGS or NGC, who can authenticate and assign a grade that dramatically affects the coin's market value. Now, here's the part every collector dreams about. There was one 1979 Washington quarter that defied expectations, a coin in absolutely stunning condition, struck with precision, and containing an extremely rare error. Experts confirmed its authenticity, collectors lined up, and when it finally went to auction, the results were nothing short of legendary. That single 1979 quarter, no different in size or design than one you might spend at a vending machine, was sold for a staggering amount. Not a few hundred. Not even a few thousand. It sold for $110,000. Yes, you heard that right. A 25-cent coin, overlooked by millions of people every day, realized a final auction price of $110,000. That's more than some luxury cars, more than many homes, and more than enough to change someone's life, all from a single coin. This is why the world of coin collecting never loses its magic. It's not just about metal and markings, it's about history, rarity, craftsmanship, and yes, sometimes, pure luck. So the next time you're handed a quarter, especially one dated 1979, don't dismiss it as just another coin. Examine it. Feel it. Listen to it. You never know, you might be holding a piece of numismatic gold, hidden in plain sight. Thank you for watching, fellow treasure hunters. Stay curious, stay passionate, and always check your change. Because the next rare and valuable coin might just be waiting in your very own pocket. Happy collecting! Top 2. Imagine holding a small silver-colored coin in your hand, something you've likely seen 1,000 times before, and yet this 1978 Washington quarter dollar, could be your hidden treasure. A coin that's been passed from hand to hand, paid for groceries, rides, maybe slipped into a vending machine, yet one version of this quarter holds a secret so valuable, it fetched a price so massive, collectors still talk about it with awe. Welcome, coin lovers and treasure hunters, to a journey into one of the most surprising and rarest finds in modern American coinage. Now, we all know the Washington quarter. It's been in circulation for decades. But the year 1978? That's where it gets interesting. At first glance, it looks just like any other 25-cent piece. You see George Washington's familiar profile, the word, Liberty, overhead, and the phrase, "In God We Trust," to the left, with the date, 1978, stamped below. Flip it over and there's the proud eagle perched with wings spread, grasping arrows, olive branches below, the unmistakable symbol of American power and peace. So what makes this particular coin, the 1978 Washington quarter, so special? Why would collectors from around the world pay a jaw-dropping fortune to have it in their collection? Well, here's where things get exciting. The key to this coin's value lies in a rare combination of errors, condition, and sheer luck. You see, in 1978, quarters were supposed to be made from a copper-nickel-clad composition, not silver. Silver had been removed from regular coinage since the mid-1960s. However, every once in a while, due to a minting mistake or an extraordinary anomaly, a few quarters are struck on leftover silver planchets, the metal discs intended for older coins or proof issues. And when that happens, you're looking at a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Now imagine this, a 1978 quarter that was accidentally struck on a silver planchet instead of the regular copper-nickel clad. It weighs differently. It sounds differently. And if you were to compare it side by side with a regular quarter, your trained eye would catch it. The soft glow of silver, the slightly lighter tone, and of course, the shimmering ring when dropped on a table. That sound alone has made collectors stop and investigate further. But it's not just silver planchets that make the 1978 quarter a dream coin. Some 1978 quarters have been discovered with dramatic minting errors. We're talking about off-center strikes, doubled dies, and clipped planchets. Each of these minting mistakes is like a fingerprint. No two errors are exactly alike, and collectors love that. One coin, for example, was found with a strong double die obverse, where the words Liberty and the date 1978 appear as if they're shadowed, struck twice, visibly and dramatically. Another variation? Quarters that were struck on foreign planchets. Planchets intended for coins of other countries that accidentally got into the U.S. mint machinery. Imagine a U.S. quarter made on a thinner or smaller blank intended for a coin from another nation. That sort of mistake, when authenticated by grading companies like PCGS or NGC, can take a regular-looking coin and launch it into a five-figure value. Then, of course, there's condition. A coin in mint state, MS condition, especially if it's graded MS 67 or higher, becomes much more valuable. Fewer and fewer 1978 quarters survive today in high-grade condition due to natural wear from decades of circulation. That's why coins that still shine with their original luster, free from scratches or blemishes, are so desirable. Let's not forget the full strike designation. Some 1978 quarters display incredibly sharp details, like full feather lines on the eagle's wings or crisp lettering on both the obverse and reverse, which also drives their appeal higher. And here's what gets the adrenaline going for collectors: most of these rare coins are discovered by accident. A person casually sorting through pocket change. A young collector checking coin rolls from the bank. A flea market buyer picking up a jar of coins for fun. That's what makes the world of coin collecting so exciting. You never know when you might be the one to find the next legendary piece. Now, for those of you who love a good treasure story, and I know many of you watching are passionate about numismatics, there's one known 1978 Washington quarter that shattered expectations at auction. A pristine, high-grade specimen with a unique error and a stunning strike. After expert evaluation and intense bidding from collectors around the globe, that one little quarter didn't just sell for a few hundred or even a few $1,000s. It sold for $120,000. Yes, you heard that right. A 25-cent coin, a coin that could easily go unnoticed in a jar of change, brought in $120,000 at auction. That's the magic and mystery of rare coins. That's the reason collectors lose sleep over their search. That's the thrill that drives the hunt. So the next time you have a handful of change, don't overlook the quarters. Especially not the 1978s. Look for unusual metal composition. Listen for that high-pitched silver ring. Examine the coin closely for doubling, off-centering, or any strange misalignment. And if you think you've found something special, get it graded by a professional. Because you never know, you just might be holding the next great discovery in American coinage. Keep searching, keep learning, and never stop looking at every coin you touch just a little bit closer. Because history, mystery, and possibly a small fortune could be sitting right in your pocket. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting! Top 3. Imagine you're going through your pocket change, just an ordinary day, maybe after a quick trip to the store. Among the dimes, nickels, and crumpled bills, you notice a quarter. It's not shiny. It's not fancy. It's a simple, worn 1983 Washington quarter. But what if I told you that coin in your hand could be one of the rarest and most valuable pieces of American coinage ever discovered in circulation? What if I told you that one small detail, often missed by millions, could turn that 25-cent piece into a collector's dream worth tens of thousands of dollars? Welcome, coin enthusiasts, history lovers, and curious minds. Today's deep dive is into a coin that many people spend every single day without a second thought. Yet beneath its simple copper-nickel surface lies a mystery, a rarity, and a value that has shocked even seasoned numismatists. Get ready to explore the hidden secrets of the 1983 Washington quarter dollar, one of the most fascinating coins in modern U.S. history. Let's begin with a little background. The 1983 Washington quarter was part of the standard circulating coinage minted by the United States Mint during the early 1980s, a decade marked by recession, rising inflation, and an intense focus on cost cutting at the mint itself. That year, quarters were produced at two main facilities, Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, marked with AD. No proof coins were made in San Francisco that year for general circulation, which adds to this year's unique story. This coin, like others from the 1980s, was struck on a copper-nickel clad planchet, with a core of pure copper sandwiched between layers of copper-nickel. Standard stuff, right? But in 1983, something extraordinary happened. Or more accurately, something didn't happen. And that's what made certain 1983 quarters so rare and so incredibly valuable today. You see, due to budget constraints and poor production quality control at the time, the U.S. Mint did not produce uncirculated mint sets in 1982 or 1983. That's important, because it means that all 1983 quarters entered circulation, and none were saved in pristine, untouched mint condition the way collectors rely on today. Most were used, worn down, scratched, and ultimately lost their shine. Which means finding a 1983 Washington quarter in high-grade condition is extremely rare, and finding one with an error? That's like winning the coin collector's lottery. Now let's talk about what makes this coin so special, beyond just age and scarcity. The most famous and most talked about version of the 1983 Washington quarter is known as the 1983p, Spitting Eagle, error. This error appears on quarters minted in Philadelphia, and the name comes from a very distinctive die flaw, a raised line of metal that appears to shoot straight out from the eagle's beak on the reverse side, making it look like the eagle is literally spitting. Strange? Yes. Desirable? Absolutely. This kind of die break error, where the die becomes cracked or damaged during use, creates coins with unique raised lines or blobs of metal. Since it's part of the minting process itself, it's not post-mint damage, it's a genuine mint error, and collectors love it. The Spitting Eagle is one of the most iconic die break errors in U.S. coinage and has become a must-have for serious collectors. But that's not all. Some 1983 quarters have been discovered with other dramatic minting mistakes, off-center strikes, where the design is shifted to one side, double die obverse, with visible doubling in inscriptions like Liberty or In God We Trust. Clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin is literally missing due to a mispunch during the blanking process, and even wrong planchet errors, where a quarter was mistakenly struck on a dime blank, resulting in a coin that's smaller and lighter than normal. Each of these errors adds a layer of rarity, and the more dramatic or unique the flaw, the higher the value climbs, especially if the coin is in good condition. But here's where things get really exciting. Because no uncirculated mint sets were made in 1983, even a regular 1983 Washington quarter in near-perfect mint state is considered extremely rare. Coins graded MS-65 and above by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC are hard to find, and very expensive. Add an error like the Spitting Eagle to a high-grade coin, and the value skyrockets. And guess what? One such coin did exactly that. A high-grade 1983p Washington quarter with the famous Spitting Eagle die break, certified by PCGS in MS-67 condition, made headlines in the numismatic world. The coin looked nearly flawless, its surfaces shimmered, the details were sharply struck, and the error was bold and unmistakable. After fierce competition at a major coin auction, this coin shocked everyone with its final sale price. That little 25-cent coin sold for a jaw-dropping $70,000. That's right, $70,000 for a quarter. A coin that was once tossed around in soda machines and supermarket lines now holds a value equal to luxury cars, college tuition, or even a down payment on a house. That's the magic of numismatics, and the power of rarity and history combined. So what does this mean for you, the collector, the coin lover, or the casual change checker? It means opportunity is out there. It means that rare and valuable coins are not just locked away in museums or elite collections. They could be in your drawer, your change jar, or your next coin roll from the bank. It means that the 1983 Washington quarter is more than just a piece of metal, it's a piece of hidden American treasure. Always keep your eyes open. Examine your change carefully. If you come across a 1983 quarter, especially one from Philadelphia, look for that tiny die break on the eagle's beak. Weigh your coins. Check for off-center designs, doubling, and unusual edges. And if you think you've found something rare, don't hesitate. Get it professionally graded. Because the next record-breaking coin might not be in a collector's vault, it might be in your pocket. Thanks for joining us on this exciting exploration of the 1983 Washington quarter dollar, a coin full of surprises, value, and endless fascination. If you enjoyed this deep dive into rare coin history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and most importantly, keep hunting. Because in the world of coins, every cent counts, and sometimes, it counts for $70,000. Top 4. Have you ever heard the saying, "Not all treasure is buried"? Well, in the world of coin collecting, treasure is often hiding in plain sight, right in your pocket, under your car seat, or tucked away in an old coffee jar. And today, we're diving into one of the most overlooked, yet incredibly exciting pieces of modern American currency, the 1991 Washington quarter dollar. That's right, a coin that most people wouldn't look twice at. But what if I told you that this very coin, in the right condition and with the right rare error, could fetch an eye-popping $55,000? Yes, you heard that correctly. A 25-cent coin from 1991 has the power to turn your ordinary day into an extraordinary one. So coin lovers, collectors, and curious viewers, get comfortable. You're about to discover what makes this quarter not just a coin, but a potential goldmine. Let's begin by looking at the coin itself. The 1991 Washington quarter was part of the standard coinage issued by the United States Mint, continuing the long legacy of the Washington quarter series, which began all the way back in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of America's first president. The design had remained largely the same over the decades. The obverse features George Washington's proud and noble profile, facing left, with the word, Liberty, overhead. "In God we trust," on the left side, and the year 1991 clearly visible beneath his image. Flip the coin, and you'll see the reverse, the American bald eagle, wings stretched wide, perched atop a bundle of arrows with 2 olive branches below, a symbol of war and peace, strength and diplomacy. Now, the 1991 quarter was produced at 2 minting facilities, the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, and the Denver Mint, with AD mint mark. Hundreds of millions of these quarters were struck, a seemingly endless supply for vending machines, parking meters, and lunch counters. But in the midst of all those ordinary coins, a few extraordinary ones slipped through. Coins that make collectors' hearts race and auction rooms go silent with anticipation. You see, not all 1991 quarters are the same. And a few, just a few, hold hidden flaws, striking errors, and ultra-rare features that make them worth thousands upon thousands of dollars. Let's talk about those errors. Point 1. Of the most famous and valuable types of 1991 Washington quarter errors is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank isn't properly seated in the coining press, causing the design to be struck off to one side. The more dramatic the off-center error, especially if the date is still visible, the more valuable the coin. Some off-center 1991 quarters have sold for hundreds, even thousands of dollars, depending on the severity of the misalignment and the overall condition of the coin. Then there's the coveted double die error, a coin that looks like it's been stamped twice. Look closely at the words, Liberty, In God We Trust, or even the date 1991, and you might see a slight doubling effect, like a shadow that shouldn't be there. These doubling errors occurred due to slight shifts in the die during the manufacturing process, and collectors absolutely love them. But it gets even better. Some 1991 quarters were struck on the wrong planchets entirely. That's right, coins intended to be quarters were accidentally struck on blanks meant for other denominations, like pennies or nickels. This leads to a coin that looks and feels different, sometimes lighter, sometimes with an unusual color or finish. These are known as wrong planchet errors, and they are incredibly rare and highly collectible. Another fascinating error found in some 1991 quarters is the clipped planchet error, where a section of the coin appears to be bitten off or missing due to a miscut during blanking. These odd-looking coins might seem damaged at first, but when verified by grading experts, they are considered true mint errors and can command significant value. And now let's talk about something that might shock you. Even a normal 1991 Washington quarter with no visible error, if preserved in near-perfect condition, can be worth a fortune. Why? Because mint state coins, those that have never been circulated, scratched, or worn, are extremely rare for modern circulation coins. Most people use them daily, meaning they were nicked, scuffed, and tossed around. Finding a 1991 quarter in pristine, untouched condition, especially one graded MS-67 or higher, is like finding a needle in a haystack. Combine that flawless condition with a rare mint error, and now you've got a recipe for serious value. And believe it or not, such a coin exists. 1 1991 Washington quarter. Certified by PCGS as a mint state gem and featuring a spectacular mint error, made waves in the coin collecting world. It was examined, authenticated, and then placed into a competitive auction where collectors from across the country lined up to get their hands on it. What started as a humble 25-cent piece turned into the prize of a lifetime. The final sale price? An astonishing $55,000. That's right, $55,000 for a quarter you could easily mistake for spare change. That coin is now in a private collection, protected, admired, and insured. A reminder that sometimes, the greatest treasures are the ones we walk past every day. So what does all of this mean for you? It means the hunt is real. The possibilities are alive. The next great coin discovery might not come from a museum, or an ancient treasure chest, or a locked vault. It might come from your very own wallet. That 1991 quarter you're about to spend on a soda? Take a second look. Check for doubling. Check for unusual shapes, off-center strikes, missing pieces. Check for condition. Does it shine like it's brand new? Because you never know. You could be holding a forgotten masterpiece. You could be holding the next high-grade error coin that makes history. You could be holding your $55,000 discovery. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey into the world of the 1991 Washington quarter. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more rare coin adventures. And as always, keep searching, keep dreaming, and most importantly, check your change. Because every coin tells a story, and sometimes, that story ends in treasure. Top 5. You're standing at the checkout line, jingling some loose change in your pocket, maybe bored, maybe daydreaming. You glance down at a quarter in your hand, just another ordinary coin, right? The year reads 1995, and it looks like any other Washington quarter you've seen 1,000 times. But what if I told you that very coin might be one of the rarest and most valuable pieces of currency still hiding in circulation today? A coin so unique, so desirable, that collectors would pay tens of thousands of dollars just to own it? Welcome to a world where small metal discs can be worth far more than their face value. Welcome to the incredible story of the 1995 Washington quarter dollar, a coin that has shocked auction houses, stunned collectors, and left people speechless when they realize just how valuable this little piece of American history can be. Now let's dive into what makes this unassuming 1995 quarter a true numismatic treasure. Let's begin with the basics. The Washington quarter has been a mainstay in U.S. coinage since 1932. In 1995, it was still struck with the same traditional design we all recognize. The obverse side features a dignified profile of George Washington, facing left, with Liberty printed above his head. In God we trust, to the left, and the year 1995 stamped proudly below. On the reverse, a majestic bald eagle is perched atop a bundle of arrows, wings spread wide, with olive branches below, symbolizing America's readiness for war, and its preference for peace. In 1995, the United States Mint produced hundreds of millions of these quarters at both the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, and the Denver Mint, D mint mark. They were mass-produced, used for daily transactions, and circulated across every state in the nation. At first glance, there was nothing special about them, just another coin tossed into the daily churn of American commerce. But here's where it gets interesting. Out of those millions, a tiny handful, and we're talking a few dozen known examples, were struck with errors so rare, so precise, and so beautifully flawed that their value today is not just based on age or condition, it's based on rarity, mystery, and collector demand. Let's talk about the errors that turned the 1995 Washington quarter from spare change into a collector's dream. One of the most famous errors found in this coin is the double die obverse, where the design on the front of the coin is doubled. This doubling can be clearly seen in the inscriptions, Liberty, In God We Trust, and sometimes even the numbers in the date, 1995. Imagine the lettering appearing slightly shadowed, like it was stamped twice but not aligned perfectly. This isn't wear and tear, it's a legitimate error from the die creation process itself, and collectors go absolutely wild for it. And then there's the off-center strike error. Picture a coin where the design is noticeably shifted to one side, leaving a blank crescent of metal along the edge. These mistakes occur when the coin blank isn't perfectly centered between the dies before being struck. The more dramatic the off-center strike, especially if the date remains fully visible, the more valuable the coin becomes. Another rare and attention-grabbing error involves the clipped planchet, where the coin appears to have a bite taken out of it. This happens when the metal sheet from which coin blanks are punched overlaps, leading to a missing curved section. These clipped quarters can fetch high prices, especially when combined with other features like mint state condition or additional errors. And then there's the wrong planchet error. This is when a quarter is struck on a blank intended for another denomination, such as a dime or a foreign coin. The result is a coin that might be lighter in weight, smaller in diameter, or even made of a different metal entirely. These are extremely rare and highly sought after by expert collectors and grading companies alike. But it's not just about errors. Even a regular 1995 Washington quarter, if found in exceptionally high grade, can command serious attention. Coins that have never entered circulation, have no wear, and retain their full original luster are graded by professional services such as PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company. Quarters graded MS67, MS68, or higher are exceptionally rare. Add to that a dramatic mint error? Now you're talking about a coin that could shatter price records. And speaking of records, there's one 1995 Washington quarter that turned heads across the coin collecting world. It was discovered by a collector who had been casually checking rolls of quarters from a local bank. At first glance, it looked ordinary. But closer inspection revealed a powerful combination, a stunning double die obverse, strong mint luster, and virtually no signs of wear. After certification by PCGS, this coin was classified in one of the highest known mint state grades for that year, and its error made it one of a kind. When this quarter went up for auction, bidding quickly skyrocketed. Collectors knew what they were looking at. And when the hammer finally dropped, the final price shocked everyone. That single, beautiful, misprinted 1995 Washington quarter sold for an incredible $45,000. Yes, you heard that right. $45,000 for a coin you might easily overlook. A coin that could be hiding in a forgotten jar, a roll from the bank, or even sitting quietly in your glove compartment right now. So what should you do? Start by looking through your change. Pay close attention to every 1995 quarter you find. Use a magnifying glass to examine the lettering. Look for any signs of doubling. Weigh the coin. It should be around 5.67 grams. If it's significantly lighter or heavier, that could be a clue. Check the edges. Listen to the sound it makes when dropped. Errors often carry differences in ring and tone. And if you think you've found something truly special, don't hesitate to get it graded. Because in the world of coins, knowledge is treasure, and so is curiosity. Thank you for joining us on this exciting journey into the secrets of the 1995 Washington quarter. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just starting your collecting adventure, remember, every coin has a story, and every story could lead to something life-changing. Keep looking, keep learning, and most of all, keep checking your change. You never know, the next rare coin worth $45,000 might already be in your hands.